little bit. So there we go. We are recording now. Welcome to the webinar. Let me get this microphone situated a little bit closer so everybody should be able to have some good sound on our end. Thank you guys for joining us on this webinar today. As I said just a few minutes ago, this will not be scripted in true blue fashion. It'll be fun. It'll be real. What I think everyone needs at the appropriate time. I'm going to put my phone on vibrate there so I'm not getting too many distractions. But I'm excited for today to share with you guys some information that I know will be of great value based on the value I've already received from some of the guests that are going to be with us today. And I'm excited, super excited for you guys to be here today. You may already see that I've got a couple guest hosts on with me, Calvin Wayman and Tim Cox. A lot of you guys know who Tim is. Him and his wife, Sarah, are Pro 8s in this company. And I just think the world of those guys and their talents. And Tim, I'll talk a little bit more about him, but you know, there's IQ and EQ, and Tim's EQ is off the charts. The guy is just emotionally, he is with it. But first we're going to start with Calvin Wayman, guys. This guy is a guy that I was introduced to not that long ago and quickly saw the value in what he could bring to my personal business. So right away, we had a chat, and I became a client of Calvin, and I'm still a client of Calvin, and he helps me with the brainstorming and the strategic use of social media in my LifeVantage network marketing business. So I was talking to Calvin just last week, and we kind of brainstormed this. But let me introduce him to you guys. First of all, Calvin is an author. He wrote a book, Fish Out of Water. It's an amazing book that, there it is, love it. Great book. That book, I hit, I think, Amazon's top 100 right out of the gates. So Calvin, you're one up with me there. I know there's a book in me somewhere. It's coming soon. I'm just so focused on building this organization and the timing that we have that I'm taking. You know, every once in a while when I get a little spunky, I will start writing some pages in my book, and my chapters are coming together. But it wasn't that long ago, guys, that Calvin was a lot like us, people that are joining a network marketing company, just your average person out there working, struggling. In fact, I think it was just 2015 when he found himself there. So, you know, maybe 2 years or somewhere in that deal where he just finally made a decision to do something. And that something has been huge. What Calvin has done in a short period of time, I admire. I really, really do admire what he's done in a short period of time, because anybody that's had the success that he's had in that short period of time, their future is massive because he sees things differently. He doesn't follow the path of the masses. Obviously, he sees things a little bit differently, and that's why I was attracted to him. One of the things that right after I started working with him, he ended up on the Dave Ramsey show. And I'm not a huge Dave Ramsey guy. Like, I don't listen to him every day, but I know him and I respect him. And Calvin was on there because him and his wife were being highlighted for getting themselves out of debt, completely being debt-free, which I'm telling you right now, that alone should tell you that this guy thinks out of the box. There's not too many people in their 30s that are debt-free, period, much less the 30s.
Or 29 either.
Or 29, there you go. He's a speaker. He speaks all over. Every time I'm talking to him, I'm going somewhere, but he's going somewhere. And coming up in just a couple weeks, you're going to be with Fubu, Mr. Fubu, Damon John, in just a few weeks. So I'm pretty excited about that to see that you guys are kicking it up a notch, and I'm trying to keep up with you, man. I'm trying to ride your coattails a little bit. With that, guys, Mr. Calvin Wayman, thanks for being on here with us.
Hey, Brandon, always a pleasure to connect with you. I'm super pumped to be here.
Awesome. Yeah, man, the team is here. The team is here. Just so that you know, we are customers and distributors, 100,000 people strong. That's the size of the organization, which is kind of mind-blowing because my wife and I have only brought into LifeVantage about 40, mid 40, 44, 45, somewhere that kind of lost count of distributors we've brought in.
Really?
Yeah. Now the majority of that is customers.
Yeah.
But about 10,000 of those are distributors. So, and some come and go, but regardless, it's a organization now that spans around the globe, and there are people right now watching us in Europe, and there are people in Australia that was texting me that were wanting to see this. So excited to have you. Excited that you're going to get to talk to our team. We love these people. They're our family. And our team and our leaders are constantly looking for every advantage and never just settling. And so I'm glad to have you on. And I want you to kind of take everybody into this social media journey that you went in before me. Talk about, first, let's start with this. What are some of the trends? Why would someone that's maybe scared of technology or social media, why would someone want to use social media in their network marketing business, or regardless?
And pay attention to it. That's huge, and it's a great question. Well, I think some of the people on here for in network marketing, you're in the personal development space. I think one of the people you'll probably know the name of is Grant Cardone. And whether you know him or not, it's fine. But there's something that I learned from him years ago that affected the way that I think and affected the way that I do business, and what made me get on social media. And it's this. Yes, we're in the relationship business and everything like that. We're trying to grow our business so we can grow our lifestyle and things like that. And sometimes it doesn't grow as fast as we want it to, right? Or we're not getting the results that we want. And this is what Grant Cardone said. When businesses are failing, when your company, your organization, the things that you're trying to create isn't happening the way you want it to, it's not that you're a bad person. It doesn't mean that you're bad, that you don't know what you're doing necessarily. It doesn't mean that you're not worthy. It also doesn't mean that you have a bad business or a bad opportunity or a bad system. Those things are there. You have those. You have the system and you have what it takes. The only problem is obscurity. Obscurity meaning there's just not enough of the right people that know who you are and what your business is. That's the issue. So what you're trying to do is get in front of the wave of attention where those right people are, where they can match you and match your opportunity and help as many people as possible. And so, Brandon, where else can you do that at the scale today, bigger than any opportunity we've ever had in the history of humanity, than a regular person getting in front of a lot of people through the power of social media? So that's the power of it. That's why we want to pay attention to it, because that's where the attention is, and that's why I'm excited about it, and that's where I put my focus.
Awesome. I love that. Here's a little quick Grant Cardone story for you and everybody in True Blue. Yes, we know about him. He actually flew into our headquarters to meet with our CEO a couple months back, or close to a year ago, to be a part of because we have a personal development program within. We've had Eric Worre speaking at our events, and right now John Maxwell is speaking at our events, because we realize the magnitude of personal development in network marketing. Your check is directly related to your personal growth. That's kind of how this works in network marketing. And so anyway, quick story. One of our distributors who's from Louisiana, living down in Brazil, some of you now, I'm not going to say the name, but now a lot of you guys know who that is, had the privilege, the connections to have a private meeting with him not that long ago, Cardone. And I think it was about real estate. And the short story is this. Somehow LifeVantage came up in the conversation. And at the end of the story, Cardone tells our distributor, LifeVantage is what you should be focusing on. That job in Brazil is great, but it's just a job. And they've got you kind of, by the what. Yep. And it's just a job. And Cardone said, focus on building your network marketing opportunity, LifeVantage. And then I think he became a customer of our products.
I was just going to say, I was just watching his Cardone TV like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And he's running an ad for LifeVantage on his show.
Is he?
Yeah. Just so you know. I just noticed that like 2 days ago. I thought, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was Kerry Dickey spoke on his thing or whatever, but
yeah. Cardone knows who LifeVantage is. So, okay. So listen, when I contacted you, we had a little conversation about all these platforms in social media. Social media is a monster. Like it's,
Instagram, Twitter, YouTube,
Snapchat, crazy. Stuff's all over the place. And like for the new person starting out, like for me, I'm not I'm pretty much people are going to be shocked by this. I'm kind of a private person. Like, I don't like the world knowing about me. So why Facebook though? Like, we talked about why social media. For me, and you kind of directed me to Facebook. And so why is Facebook maybe the right platform to start with?
Oh, that is such a good question. I'll preface it two ways. First of all, since I'm in social media, so I'm on as many platforms right now as I can be. I'm on Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook stories, and all those things. But why would I have somebody start on Facebook? So I'm on all these platforms right now, right? But here's the thing. I didn't start being on all those platforms. In fact, it would have been crazy if I did. The reason you want to start on one is because your attention scientifically is a limited resource. You're stepping into a new game. That's the first thing. So you want to focus, because when you focus, then you can create fire. I don't know if you've ever heard the analogy that if you take a magnifying glass and move it all over a piece of paper, nothing happens if you're outside. But when you hold it down and you let that focus come in, then the fire burns, right? So that's the first thing. When you focus, you're going to get the result, and you're going to be able to take that result and then take it to something else. The other thing of Facebook is just completely logical and mathematic. I was just looking at the numbers literally last night because I'm doing some Facebook ads testing for some of my clients. Right now, there are more than 1 billion with a B active Facebook users every single month. I'm not saying there's 1 billion people that have signed up, which already would be insane. There's 1 billion people that are active on the platform every single month. So not only are you focusing, and that's going to help you, but you're focusing in the right area. So that's like 10xing it. And then it's just the place where you can get the biggest result in the shortest amount of time.
Okay, awesome. Well, I wanted to touch on that because I know I had a tendency to kind of be a little bit here, a little bit there. And what I found is once I just started focusing in one spot and really being a practitioner there in that one spot, my results went up as far and results. Here's a little tangent we're going to jump off of. How does this become tangible that you're getting your return on your time? Because that's what this is about. And it's those conversations that start online but end up offline, right?
Right. So I think that's kind of transitioning. One thing to just add on the attention thing is if you're trying to chase 2 rabbits, you'll catch 0. So to pick one and go after it. Now, what you just said is it's not just about the surface level attention grabbing, because that doesn't last. Especially in network marketing, something that we know for a fact is people do not join businesses, right? Who do they join?
People.
Other people. So the social media is kind of the top layer where people are getting the first attention, but it's almost like you're not going to, if we're using like a dating analogy or anything like that, it's like the first interaction. You're not getting married right there. They're not joining right there. So it's going from that to going deeper, right? To showing them a little bit more of what you have to offer. Maybe giving them some value, giving somebody a sample, inviting them to something, having those conversations, right? As you said. And kind of another tangent for me, since we're talking about network marketing, something that I love about LifeVantage and you and Seth and those people that are using LifeVantage correctly or using social media correctly is you don't want to be like other network marketers that treat social media like it's just this distribution thing where you're just blasting and selling what you have to offer. It doesn't work. As a matter of fact, it's easier than you think because all you're doing is treating the platform of social media just like you would on offline. The same people principles apply. You wouldn't walk up to somebody and say, hey, can I marry you? Or you wouldn't walk up to somebody and say, hey, will you buy this biggest package? It's going to make you a ton of money. You wouldn't. You'd develop a relationship. You'd have a conversation. You'd invite them, and it would go deeper, deeper, and deeper. And social media just gives you that tool that allows you to have those conversations to take it deeper and
That's awesome. That what you just said is huge. You know, that's huge. And that analogy, I hope everybody either is taking notes or you re-listen to this thing again. That was awesome. So when we first got together, you're like, Brandon, you know, you need to brand yourself. And I was like, oh no, here we go. Like, I need to brand myself. Like, when you said that to me, I was like, no, that's not me. I don't want to be in the spotlight. I don't have a brand. Like, and you're like, no. You don't understand. So explain what's branding and why everyone needs to brand themselves.
Okay. First of all, yeah, that was fun. I'm scaring you a little bit. I get that all the time. And I understand being scared when it comes to like, so branding yourself for people watching this, it's basically highlighting you on social media or anywhere where somebody can see you kind of in a public way. That can sound intimidating. And I understand the intimidation because I was on social media for at least 3 years and nobody knew it. Like, I was a lurker. This is how afraid I was about branding myself. I was so afraid that even on my Facebook profile, that was only my friends and family, people that knew me, I was afraid to put my face as the profile picture. Literally, I don't know if you've ever heard of if you know the comic strip Calvin and Hobbes.
Yeah.
But for like 3 years, it was a picture of Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes because I was afraid to show myself. Like, what are people going to think of me, judge me? I didn't comment or like things even because I didn't want people to see me. So I get it. I understand the fear, but life's better on the other side when you break through that and start doing things. So to go deeper to answer your question, what does it mean to brand yourself? This is the way to grow social media, especially in a network marketing way. So I already mentioned before that you don't just pitch your business, your opportunity, and things like that, right? Because it's social media. People aren't there. It's not the right context for being sold right then. So, and I also mentioned that people buy other people versus buying the business. So all branding is it's showing who you are, what you stand for, and what you believe in, right? Somebody that you'll know, I always like using this example, Seth, and you as well. But Seth Campbell here in LifeVantage was wondering, like, he was posting just about his business, no traction. And we got clear on what he stood for and believed in. And his core value was super, super simple. His core value was average sucks. The greatest the greatest version of average is the enemy. If you want to be great, then you can't be average. Just battle average. And so that's what we started creating content on, is what he stood for and believed in. And on a big level, like if you think about what makes a group of people congregate together, like even when I say that word congregation, chances are people on here might be thinking, well, if I hear congregation, where would I see the congregation? Probably church, right?
Right.
Probably a political rally.
Right.
Just ask, what brings that group of people together? It's their common set of core values and beliefs. So especially when you're getting started, when you're branding yourself, you're sharing a little bit about you, and if you can have photos and stuff like that, that's awesome. But really, what you're doing is you're sharing your core values and beliefs, and that's what's going to attract your tribe to you. The thing that brings a group of people out of church is not that the church is the best looking church in town or the best building in town. The thing that brought them together is they all believe similar things, right? That's what brought them there. That's what you're doing, is you're creating your own tribe, your own Team True Blue, your own congregation of people that also have those core values. So share core values, share what you stand for. If you believe average is the enemy, share about that. If you believe that the old way of just doing 40, 40, 40, live for or take the same job for 40 years, 40 hours a week so you can retire 40% on your income. Like, if you believe that that's broken, share that. Because when you share those things you actually believe in, you start to attract those people that start into conversations that you can take deeper. and you just developing relationships and doing it in a scalable way that you've never been able to before.
Got it. So really branding yourself then is kind of the new age of a resume. Like, I mean, if you're going to think of a resume, you're going to put who you are. Like, you're going to put that best foot forward, right? So we're just talking like a social media version of a resume.
Totally. Yeah. This is who I am. Like, you're getting more into speaking and things like that. And so just as like, if you were going to take some job or show somebody that that you're a speaker, you've been with John C. Maxwell and stuff like that, then you would put that on there, right? You want people to know you've been there. So yeah, we're taking snapshots of that, you with John C. Maxwell, posting it, and people just know. The good thing is you're not just sending it to one employer, you're sending it to potentially thousands and thousands of people that are going to see it.
And so when we started this branding process with me, you started with a conversation about the 4 C's. Will you talk about the 4 C's?
Yes. So the 4 C's is just a simple structure to understand social media, because there's thousands of different tactics. We already talked about different platforms. And the 4 C's are the 4 principles that make all of this work. And believe it or not, we've actually already talked about all of them. But now I'll just tell you what they are and show you where they fit. These are the 4 things that if you want to stand out like crazy, it's not even fair with other people that are on social media. You'll have so much more attention than follow these. Those 4 C's are content, context, consistency, connection. So what's content? Well, we already talked about you post about what you stand for and believe in. That's what content is. It's anything that tells the story of who you are, what you stand for, and you believe in. It's not your business. It's not pitching your business. It's talking about your core values. So that's content. Context, the principle of context, just means do what's appropriate content-wise and for that platform. So I already mentioned you don't sell or pitch your business, right? Because that's not fitting the context of social media. You're not just saying, hey, I'm looking for 5 extra people to make an extra $600 a month. It's not going to work. Start from where, as you would in real life, and start developing a relationship that fits the context for the platform. Third thing that I didn't touch on too much, that's super important, that is consistency. If I were to ask people on this call, it doesn't even matter what country you're in. If I said, think of a big yellow M in fast food, who would you automatically think of?
It's McDonald's.
Mickey D's. If I say red soda soft drink, you automatically know Coca-Cola. If I say just do it, you know what I'm talking about? Nike. Yeah. Here's the thing, guys. I think you might have heard it if you've been around network marketing for any amount of time. The people that continue to win and get results are the people that continue to show up. And what consistency is all about, the reason McDonald's is in our head, the reason Coca-Cola and all these brands are like literally burned in our head, and I know they're burned in our head because I've asked this question to hundreds of people in dozens of countries, and everybody knows McDonald's, which is insane because I just went to Thailand a couple months ago, and the culture was totally different than what I'm used to, but they still knew McDonald's. Like, it's just crazy. So how'd they get there? Consistency. They've been so relentlessly consistent in who they are and how often they're getting out there. So continue to show up and continue to post. That's the big thing. Continue to post. So keep it simple. I mean,
what's that look like though, Calvin? What's that? Is that consistency once a month, once a week? What's consistency mean?
Once a day.
Okay, once a day.
At least once a day. And many of my clients, we do 2 or 3 times a day. Once a day, post something that is giving a piece of content of who you are, what you stand for, what you believe in. And you might be like, well, that seems like a lot. Once you get clear on your core values and what you stand for and you believe in, you'll find out that you have way more content than you realize. Like, the problem is not stuff in your head. You'll actually find out it's way more than you think. When you start writing your book, Brandon, I know it's going to be the exact same thing as me. I thought, I was like, is there enough here? Like, am I really going to have a book? And I found out as I was writing it, there's actually 3 in there. And I thought I didn't have enough. And as you get doing it, you get clear on what you want it to be, then a lot comes out. So get clear on the core values, you'll have enough. That's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is batching. You don't have to come up with the concept day by day if you don't want to. You could sit down, instead of sitting down for 5 minutes a day every day, if that seems too much, to come up with a piece of content. You could sit down for 30 minutes to an hour for a week and come up with concepts that will last for the whole week. And I don't mean to put you on the spot, Brandon, a little bit, but just curious, when you sit down, because we work together with your content, you give the concept and we have the designers create it. When you sit down and you actually come up with the concept for the week, how much time does that take you?
Yeah, I generally will take 30 minutes to an hour to give you a week to 2 weeks content.
Perfect. 30 minutes to an hour for a whole week of being out there and people seeing you. So it doesn't have to be a ton of time, but you have to have that consistency.
It's a good point. It's a good point that you asked that, because if I just do it haphazardly, it's very frustrating to me.
Yes.
So like if I'm like, oh yeah, Calvin said I need to get in some content and I'm busy, I'm just not in the right frame of mind. And so what I do is I get myself in the right frame of mind where I kind of clear my mind for a second and I get really clear on who I am. Then it just starts popping. And so I have to be intentional on when I'm going to write your content.
Totally. And that's what I was going to say, and that's the way I recommend it. All the content you see on me, I batch it too. I sit down once a week for about 30 minutes to an hour, just like you, and come up with 14 unique pieces of content that I have my designer create.
What they may not know is all of the posts on my page, because that's something we probably should talk about. I have a personal profile, but then I have a page. And see, I really didn't understand what that was either. So I got a personal profile and a page, and Tim Cox will maybe help us talk about that a little bit too here. But my page is really where Calvin has helped me. You know, when it comes to my page, one of the things I told Calvin is like, I can't be cookie cutter, dude. I cannot just take other people's stuff and regurgitate. So what you guys may not know is every one of those quotes, while they may have been inspired by something I've read, they're originals. And I know that's very hard on Calvin, because he's like, hey, I need some content. And I would rather not give him content than just regurgitate someone else. That's just me. I'm not saying it's wrong, because I know other leaders do that, but I have chosen to be completely original. So
totally. And that's a cool way. And that's something that you want to get to. If you don't know exactly what your content is, but you know that you love Grant Cardone and you don't know why, and you know that you like Gary Vaynerchuk and what he says and you don't know why, and these people, then it's definitely okay to show that, because it still gives a piece of you that's what you stand for and that's what you believe in. And certainly when you're ready to go big time like Brandon, the more original the better, because that's just going to help your branding all the way around. So just to end this on the 4 C's, we've talked about content, what you stand for, believe in, context, keeping it appropriate for the platform, consistency, because without the consistency, you're not recognized or remembered. When you have that consistency, people know you're serious, and there's just so much power. The last C, arguably the most important C on social media, and certainly for network marketing, that is connection. Everything you do should drive towards connection. If you're just staying up here on the surface level and just showing the stuff, but you're not replying back to comments when your audience comes, if you're not, imagine that you didn't have any sort of dialogue with your people. I use the funny example of church in the beginning. Imagine that you expect to go to church with this congregation and all you did was sit there and you sat for the whole time and the preacher didn't preach and you didn't hear some of the stuff you want to hear. You'd be like, what'd I do? It might be kind of cool just to be with those types of people, but people are craving this type of connection and interaction. And I'll give one quick story on the power of connection, because you have no idea how much that one comment to somebody or that one interaction with somebody will do. I was on Facebook several months ago, and I come across this random video. It's a video of 3 Australian dudes doing some sort of interview. And one of my friends tagged me in the video, and I'm wondering, why is somebody tagging me in this random video that of 3 dudes that I don't even know, and they have this crazy Australian accent? Well, it turns out those 3 guys were talking about somebody I know. And the person they were talking about was me. And I was like, what? It was the weirdest experience, because I don't know if you've ever been to a party or a networking meeting and somebody comes up and says, hey, what's up? And you're like, should I know this person? How do they know me? I kind of wondered, like, have I seen them before? And I forgot. And I was like, well, no, I don't know anybody with that accent. They're in Australia. There's no way I know them. It was the first time in my life I ever saw somebody know me when I had literally zero frame of reference of who they were. How did it happen? This is how. It turns out 6 months prior to that, one of those three guys happened to follow me on social media. And instead of ignoring that new friend, like we sometimes do, I decided, you know what? I want to connect. I want to stand out, because I don't want them to just be a revolving door. I want people to come in and I want them to stay, because that's how I'm going to build this organization to use however I want. And so what I decided to do is I pulled out my phone and I wanted to stand out even more. So I shot a quick video, and all the video said was this: hey brother, I noticed that you just added me as a friend. Thanks. The video lasted 4 seconds, but that 4 seconds was enough of a connection with him that he then stalked me on social media in a good way without me even realizing it for the next 6 months. In fact, when I launched my book, Fish Out of Water, he bought a bulk order of my books without me even asking him. In fact, when he was doing that podcast interview, he was giving 10 copies of my book away for free to this Australian audience, an audience I would have never thought I ever could have even connected to. All of this was happening without me even knowing it, in a country I've never even been to.
Awesome.
Imagine that with your network marketing organization. How did it happen? Because of one little 4-second connection.
And that's why we're doing this. That's why we're doing this webinar right now. That little, you've already dropped a few nuggets, a few bombs. That was a bomb you just dropped, because people do connect all the time. And then that, like you said, as a network marketer, that final C of connection is what we're doing this all for. Totally.
I'm so glad you're highlighting this, because again, we talked about there's 4 C's, but it all should go to that connection. Like, just check out their profiles, see what they're doing, like engage, have conversation. And how much energy and time does this take? We talked about batching with your content, 30 minutes for a week. We're talking like 5 minutes a day. Like, it can be that simple. Just start 5 minutes where you just engage with people. You never leave a comment behind, like message them in Messenger. Something that I do, that besides the video example, here's something that everybody can try right now that is so simple that makes you stand out like crazy, and it's a conversation starter. If you have Facebook, you should also have the Facebook Messenger app. Right. And you're going to have people add you as a friend. You might add them, and then they're going to add you back. There's this really, really cool feature that not very many people use. I don't know if you can see it, but near at the bottom, there's this little, it's a microphone. Okay?
Right.
You literally can do a microphone, and this is even faster than texting everyone for me. And you literally do what I just did on video and say, hey, I just noticed that you added me as a friend. Thank you so much. Nobody gets audios on Facebook. And when you do that, they're like, whoa, I've never gotten an audio. And instantly you're standing out. You start having a conversation. Then you can just start texting from there. Maybe you go to their profile and notice they have something cool on their cover photo, or they've been somewhere recently and like, I've been wanting to go to Mexico. Conversations there, and it just goes deeper, deeper, and deeper. Guys, I hope you're catching the vision, because, man, it's huge, and the opportunity is powerful.
Powerful. Thanks, Calvin. You've given us so much value already. I want them to know, guys, that Calvin is, to me, been a big influence on what I'm doing with social media. And I'm a baby still in social media. I have a lot to learn, and I'm going to continue to use Calvin. You guys can hire Calvin if you want. He is the CEO of Cobb's Media, and Calvin is available to reach out, do some consulting. And so, Calvin, I can also post how they can get a hold of you, but why don't you tell them, in the best case scenario, how they can get a hold of you if they want to maybe have a consultation and then maybe go from there to hiring you to work with them personally.
Yeah, perfect. So they can either go to my personal website, it's just my first and last name, calvinwayman.com, or they can go to my company website, cobbsmedia.com. And Cobbs is, I mentioned how I didn't have a profile picture and it was Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes. That's why Cobbs is Cobbs, because it's Calvin and Hobbes put together. And I always wanted to remember where I started from. But it's Cobbs, COBBES, media.com, cobbsmedia.com or calvinwayman.com.
And of course, I know how to get a hold of you too. So if they have some problems, I can kind of direct that. I hope you can stay on for a little bit. I know you're a busy guy.
I will. I'll stay on.
I'm gonna bring Tim Cox on now to kind of give the Life Vantage side of what we're doing here together with social media. And so you guys, some of you may not know Tim and Sarah Cox, but Tim is a guy that I have grown to have a ton of respect for, as I mentioned earlier in this webinar, because he's smart, but his emotional intelligence is off the charts. He jumped into social media before me, really, and started dissecting it. And I've talked to Tim quite a bit on strategy. We're working on more strategy for the team. So Tim, are you with us? I see something there.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can. We can't see you, but I can.
My video is probably on your end.
Okay.
I have my video on, but maybe you have to turn it on your end.
Let me, so you keep doing your thing, and well, I'll work on it after I ask you a few questions. So I'll get it up.
Okay.
But first, what I wanted, Tim, for you to bring into this discussion, and you've heard some of the stuff that Calvin has brought to the table already, but first, let's start with what you have learned so far with your study of social media and how that is playing a role in network marketing.
Awesome, man. First and foremost, awesome stuff, Calvin and Brandon. Thank you for having me on here. It's like I had so much to say, and Calvin's coming up with all this stuff. I'm like, man, he's covering a lot of the stuff I was going to cover. But I've learned a lot over the past few years. And, you know, I feel like for a long time I was kind of doing it undercover, because as a company, I think a lot of people in our company sort of thought that the company frowned upon doing online methods. And so I remember the day you and I had a conversation, Brandon. Sarah and I kind of had this little thing going with social media. We were building it, and we had a conversation, and you kind of shared with me what you started to do with social media. And I kind of felt like it gave me the green light to kind of go public with it, because before then, we didn't want to be the black sheep, right? We didn't want to be the ones out there doing something completely different. And while social media is different, it's not really different. It's just doing, like you guys covered, it's really just doing what we've always done, but bringing that stuff to online. And I want to kind of go back to the whole branding aspect of this and kind of tell everybody on here, look, some people frown upon personal branding, but really for me, branding is just the perception that people have about you based on everything they see from you, whether it's the things that you say, their interactions with you, things that you put out, their relationship with you. And so even if you haven't personally worked on your brand, guess what? You have a personal brand, because everybody in your circle has a certain perception about you. And what I love about, actually working on your personal brand is you can actually take control of that message. You can take control of the message and you decide what you put out to the public. Now, if you don't want to do that and you want to leave your personal brand up for chance, you can do that. But based on all the experiences people have with you, they have a perception about you. And like Calvin talked about, people don't join products, they don't join a company, they join you. And based on the perception they have about you, they'll decide whether or not they want to be in business with you. So, Sarah and I have built this thing offline for years now. And just recently we've transitioned to online. And when you start to learn the do's and don'ts of social media, you really start to see the people that really haven't figured out what not to do. And I think before you start to learn the different strategies about social media, knowing what not to do is the most important part. I personally stay away from polarizing topics. I don't talk about religion. I don't talk about politics or anything else that might polarize people, because when you do that, a lot of times you're turning off a big portion of your database. And I just want to tell people sometimes, listen, that post that you just posted, probably half the people you want to talk to have differing beliefs, and they may not even want to have a conversation with you after that post.
Okay, I need to stop you there, because we need to slow down on that one. That one's huge. Okay. And I think I've got your camera where you can turn it on now. Try it. I think I found the right button. So maybe it'll turn on here in a second, the next time you click over. But anyway, I want you to.
The host has stopped video.
No, I just said no. So now I've got it to where we should be able to come on here, and I don't want to. I guess we'll keep rolling with it. We'll figure it out. But I want to repeat this because Calvin said something just now about making sure that you plan your content, right? And so what I find is when people really sabotage themselves, whether it's religion, politics, and whatever, Friday night party, that person is not planning their content. They're just picking up their phone, going to Facebook and posting stuff. Isn't kind of what you would think?
Yeah. And a big part of what you do on social media is attraction marketing. And the bottom line is when you focus on those polarizing topics, you're really doing repulsion marketing. You're really repelling people away from you. And if you want to attract people to you, you have to talk about topics that are of interest to a lot of people. So you may post a political post and you may have a bunch of people that, love it and like it and comment, but the other half of the people hate it and they'll unfollow you. They won't want to interact with you. And, we all have our own personal opinions, but just like you wouldn't go into a grocery store and start telling people all about your political views or all about your religious views, maybe somebody would, but you have to treat social media as if it's a party, as if it's an open room. And you just wouldn't want to have those conversations with people before you you want to respect people's viewpoints. And that's the way I do it. I have my own personal views and I may have those conversations in private with people, but at the same time, I respect everybody's viewpoint. I respect the differing viewpoints. And I also don't want to turn people away because those are potential people that could get in business with me or purchase some products from me.
Yeah, good. I'm glad you kind of highlighted that. So what have you observed so far, Tim, on social media with LifeVantage distributors or any distributors? You just hit on some of the bad, right? So what are some of the other things? Like, Calvin and I didn't talk into detail about your personal page and a business page. So everybody starts with a personal profile page, right?
Right.
And so what are some of the do nots? What should they right now when they get off this webinar, if they haven't already, what are some of the things they should do and what are some of the things they should not do or remove or restructure?
Okay, so I remember when I met Simon Chan, he's the founder of MLM Nation. He's got a huge podcast, a huge following. And he and I connected probably about a year ago. And one of the first things he told me, he came to my Facebook page and he goes, I think you're a good marketer because I can't tell what company you're with. And so if somebody can go to your profile and within a few minutes, they can figure out what company you're with and which products you have to offer, then you're doing it wrong. And so first and foremost, I would go delete anything on your profile that has to do with your company or has to do with your products. Now, when you get to the level of, say, Brandon or somebody else who's at the top of the company, it's a little bit different. People know what company you're with. But still, I would discourage you from promoting your products or your business because you don't want people forming a certain opinion based on Google, right? You want to have that conversation in private and you want to pique curiosity. And so if you're turning your social media account into an infomercial or you're spamming your friends, you are doing it wrong. You are repelling people from you. So I like to keep it a mystery. The crazy thing is I was told years ago, even though we've been building offline, one of the first things somebody told me was to guard your social media account and make sure people don't know what company or products you're involved with. And even though I wasn't building online, I still kept that in the back of my mind. And 5 years later, after joining LifeVantage, there are still people that have been following my social media accounts and have zero clue what company I'm involved in or what products I'm involved in, the ones that I haven't talked to yet. And it's because I protected that and they're curious. So by the time I prospect them and talk to them, they're curious as opposed to, yeah, I know you're doing LifeVantage. I know 10 people that are involved and didn't have any success, right? So you want to keep that a mystery. Now, when it comes to the difference between a personal page and a business page, there's a lot of differences really. Well, your personal page, you're limited on the amount of friends that you can have. They cap it off at 500. And really Facebook wants you to treat your personal page to personal stuff. And so if you post the wrong things about your products or your business, Facebook can and will shut you down. I've seen that before. Yeah, Calvin said it down there, 5,000 friends. With your business page, you can have as many followers as you need, and you can focus more on the business stuff, and you can do paid advertising, which some people have gotten into. Some people I discourage from getting into that right away. But the flexibility of the business page is so much more. Now, the hard part about the business page is to get engagement on your business page is way harder than your personal page. Facebook wants you to pay to play. So you have to do Facebook advertising to get engagement. But if you get into the Facebook advertising, they allow you to target certain markets. And, you know, first and foremost, when you want to brand yourself on social media, I think figuring out your target market is the first thing you need to do. Who do you want to attract to you? Who do you want to attract to your business? And when you figure out your target market, you can design your content to attract the right types of people to you. And so some people treat marketing as this thing where you just throw some mud against the wall and hope the right person walks by that's interested in mud. Well, the smart marketers know figuring out who your audience is first so you can fish in the right pond with the right bait. That's the most important thing to me. So figure out who you want in your business. Figure out who you want to attract into your business. Now, some of us who have been in for a while may not talk about our companies, but we may talk about how we're network marketers. So the angle that Sarah and I are taking now is I want to teach people how to be good at network marketing. So it's out in the open that I'm a network marketer, and I want to attract network marketers to me. Because when you attract network marketers, you already get rid of the hardest hurdle is that network marketing conversation that you have with people that aren't familiar with network marketing. So my content on my business page is strictly teaching people how to build network marketing and specifically how to transition from offline to online. So like Brandon and I talked before this, and we kind of want to let you guys know that building online is not a replacement for the other things that you're doing. And the best way I could paint the difference between offline and online for you is this. Building offline is like going shop at Walmart, right? You walk into the store. It's the offline experience. You get to touch and feel the products. Building online is like the Amazon experience. Both work. Both are effective. But just because I do a lot of my shopping on Amazon, I still do a lot of my shopping at stores. I don't go to Walmart much, but I still go into a lot of stores. And so having a plan for both of those things is important. But you can't deny the fact that in 2009, when we went into network marketing, Amazon was a $24.5 billion a year company. In 2015, Amazon was a $107 billion a year company in sales. That tells me that more people want to transition online. More people want convenience. More people want to do things from the comfort of their home. And at the end of the day, we kind of have to meet people where they are. If you have a large group of your friends and none of them are on social media, I would say having an online strategy isn't as important as somebody who all of their friends are on social media and all of their friends are doing things online. You kind of have to create a strategy that works for your database, right? But moving past your database now, what I love about social media is it allows you to get into people that you don't know yet. It allows you to rebuild your database. And one of the most important things for me about social media is this. Social media allows you to reinvent yourself. Not in a phony way, because when you get into network marketing with the personal development and the training, you do become a different person. But social media allows you to create a different person for yourself and put that image forward, right? The bottom line is sometimes some of us have had things in our past that have kind of damaged the image with our friends. We haven't had any success in anything. Maybe we failed at a bunch of stuff. Maybe we have a checkered past. And no matter what we do to improve ourselves, our group of friends never have a different image of us. But if you change yourself and you reinvent yourself online, you can now approach people that don't know you, and they can get to know the different side of you and not the worst side of you, if that makes sense. So, and it's not in a phony way. But when we go to church, when we go to school and go to public, we don't do a lot of the things that we do behind closed doors. So it's really no different for me. I love what you guys said about the resume. To me, the resume is the perfect way to describe social media, because when you bring your resume in to get a job, they take a look at you. They take a look at your history, right? Well, when the crazy thing is, when you go get a job, one of the first things they do is look at your social media accounts. They want to know what you're into. They want to know what your past is. If you have pictures all over your social media of you partying all the time and your risque pictures and stuff, guess what? You probably won't get the job. And the same thing goes for network marketing. If you have those types of pictures on your social media account and somebody's thinking, am I going to get in business with this person? Can I trust this person? And they look at your social media account, they may say, I don't want to be involved with a person like that. So you have to be very, very mindful of the things that you put out on social media. It's kind of unfortunate that it's that way, but then again, it's kind of cool too, right? So so just take some time to clean up your profile if you can.
Awesome, awesome stuff. I'm going to click over to make you the host, Tim, because it's driving me nuts. So I'm going to click you to host. Let's see if now, as the host, you can turn your camera. Bam!
There it is.
So now you're in full control, buddy. You got the steering wheel.
Hey, I wanted to tell you, you talked about emotional intelligence. I'm like, man, I'm a new dad of a baby girl. My emotions are a wreck right now. So I don't know how my emotional intelligence is.
Well, wait till that baby girl's 10 and someone's got a gun at your school.
I know. When you told that story, I was like, man, that's what I have to look forward to. Stuff like that. Sleepless nights. Tell you what.
So Tim just said something that is so big, guys. Here's what I find one of the biggest mistakes our team is making. They forget that, okay, first of all, they go onto social media. And Tim, we can't forget this. I want you to touch on what their profile picture should look like, okay? So I want you to touch on that when we come back. But they forget that when they sign up as a distributor, one of the first things I see distributors doing wrong is they'll go on Facebook and they announce to their entire social world that they're going to be a millionaire. And they're quitting, they're leaving their job in 6 months. And if you don't come with me, you're going to miss it. And they make this, I mean, they call the home run before they've ever even taken one swing at the bat. Like they're still in little leagues and they're in the World Series. Tim, you see that?
Yeah, absolutely. And really all that boils down to is setting the wrong expectations for people. And it kind of makes you look like somebody that's just drinking the Kool-Aid, right? That person, somebody sold him, up the river or whatever. And so I see that too. I think we oversell what we can have in network marketing. Because of that, it just looks unrealistic to people. So I don't know if you want me to hit on the profile picture now.
Go to the profile picture.
Okay, so in setting up your profile, one thing you want to do is have a profile picture that's a clear picture of you, right? If you have a professional picture, cool. If you're somebody who dresses in suits, have a picture in a suit. But if you're not somebody who ever wears suits, I wouldn't make yourself look too much not like yourself. But have a clear profile picture so people can tell exactly who you are. I see some people with pictures of their cats, or your profile picture is like a group of 30 people and nobody has a clue which one is you. And so make sure you have a good profile picture. And your banner is a good place for you to show some sort of lifestyle. And if you want to add a link to your website or something else, that's a great place. You can link your social media accounts on that banner. That way, when people come to your profile, they get a nice picture of who you are. And it's not just a mess. I mean, you want your profile to look somewhat professional. Now, for me, I use my personal profile for a lot of my personal stuff. Because I have a business fan page, I use a lot of that for my business page. And I try not to, cross recruit too much with the business and all that in the different pages, but I really just focus on educating, empowering, and entertaining with my social media account, my personal account. I do some educating stuff. I empower people to kind of take things to the next level. And then I entertain by sometimes putting some funny stuff. And so at the end of the day, you want people to be attracted to your profile. That unfollow button is real. If you do some things that turn people off, they'll click unfollow and it'll just be like you aren't on social media anymore. So you don't want that to happen to you.
Okay, so a clear picture of your face and making sure that the moment you become a network marketer, like social media now is no longer a toy. It's no longer what you just play with, because the moment you become a distributor, that becomes a tool. That becomes a vehicle.
It's like a business card.
Yeah.
Basically,
Yeah.
It's that first foot forward. And I want to touch back on something. And for me, look, and I hope it's okay that I say this, but a lot of people think that in network marketing, we're building an asset. And the truth is, a lot of what we're building is not an asset because we don't actually own it. We don't own our downline. We don't own the company that we're representing. We don't own the products, right? We're just representing our company. And if you want to find out how quickly we don't own it, mess up with the policies and procedures and see how far you get with that. The company will take that away from you. The true asset that we're building in network marketing is you. It's your intellectual property. It's your leadership skills. It's your knowledge. It's all of that stuff inside your head is your asset, and nobody can take that away from you. And that's why it's important for you to invest into your intellectual property as much as possible, because at the end of the day, if anything ever happens, you have it up here and you have the ability to go back and build it again. And so we always focus on branding the company and branding the products, but you make sure you brand yourself. Make sure you brand your leadership abilities, because at the end of the day, that may be all you have and to go on. And if you did it properly, that's all you really need.
Yeah. So guys, just so you know, we as a team have put together a think tank. And that think tank, I've got a few of them. One is specifically for social media and our team. And I've asked Tim to be the chairman to kind of quarterback that think tank. So we've got 3 or 4 people so we've reached out to. We're going to be getting together once a month, and then we're going to be taking that information and bringing some of those best practices to our team webinar that we do once a month. So we're going to probably have that first call this coming week, because the next week is our team webinar, where we're going to be honing in on social media for our team, best case practices. And I know Calvin's still on here. Calvin, one of the things I'm wanting to do with Calvin is I'm going to collaborate with Tim and the think tank and Calvin. And there's this concept that Gary Vee put out. And if you don't know who Gary Vee is, that's okay. But he says you should jab, 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 then do the right hook. And that means give away content and value, and then monetize. Well, I want to have an organized way of monetizing for the people that want it, who maybe don't know how to monetize. And so I've asked Calvin, and we're going to do this in collaboration with Tim and our team, where we're going to produce some content specifically for our Team True Blue LifeVantage distributors. And so it might be about Nerf 2. It might be about oxidative stress. It might be about lifestyle. But what it won't say is, it won't say LifeVantage. It won't say Protandem. And it'll be a way for us to monetize all the hard work that will drive those messages and that offline content. Like, what is that, right? And so Calvin, any last comments or things? I know probably you listening to this, you're probably like me, just drooling, waiting to get a chance to talk. I don't know. We could go on for a long time with this, but any last comments or things that maybe we should touch on as we wrap this up?
Tim wrapped it up perfectly. I can't turn my video on for whatever reason, but you can still hear me.
Yeah.
Man, just everything that he said, I was like, yes, yes, yes. So that was all good stuff. And yeah, I'm excited to do the content stuff for the team. Again, super tasteful. Maybe one piece of content that the whole team can share to like you said, build on the brand itself, so that you're creating. So everything Tim said, especially that at the end of the day, it's about creating the asset that you can take with you no matter what. Yes, the asset is you and the relationships that you can develop and make super deep. And so this is the way to do it.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank both of you guys for being on here. You know, obviously an hour went by really quickly. I think we could, really do this on a regular basis, and we'll see what we can do for the team. But as I said, we've developed this think tank. We're going to be bringing this content to the team and our team webinars. But I hope you guys have fun with social media, and view it as a challenge, but view it as an important tool. And, as Calvin said, there's a couple statistics, guys. 1 billion users. So no one should ever tell me I don't have anyone to talk to. That is no longer a valid excuse, because there are 1 billion people out there. And the last thing I'll say is this. It's one thing to have friends request you that are in LifeVantage, and that's fine. But people that are already in LifeVantage, you cannot monetize that. You can't sign them up as customers. You can't sign them up as distributors, guys. And so what you need to hone in on your skills is finding people outside of LifeVantage. And so all these people have friends. There's friends of friends. And maybe we're going to teach you guys on that next webinar how you can go in and create thousands and thousands of people on your account that are not LifeVantage people. LifeVantage is awesome, but you already know them offline. What we're trying to do is build you a network of thousands and thousands of people who are not in LifeVantage, but who crave the content that you're bringing to social media. So we'll talk more about that. That's really where some value is. But thank you, Calvin. Looking forward to what you're going to do with Damon, John, Fubu, and your continued success. And thank you, Tim. It's obvious you are a smart dude. Glad to have you with us. And so thank all of you for joining us. You guys have a great day, and enjoy this day as full as you can. See you later.